Hello there, Lynx here. Welcome to more of Lost Girl. Let's see if the adventure will go on or something. Let's see. Sirina's at her desk. That's university, okay. Looks like university, you know. Cupping her cheek with one hand and the other hand aimlessly marking her notebook with childlike doodles. Sounds like university. Butterflies, some birds, grass, a sun, a tree. She was tapping her foot as she always did when she was impatient. Her eyes drifted to her watch on her drawing wrist. Every 5 minutes, hoping it would magically manage to speed up.
Sirina, do you have something you'd like to show to the class?
Never would you be asked that at university. At the sound of her name, Sirina's eyes jolted to the front. Her body went stiff and she began to shake nervously.
Pardon?
Those doodles you're working while you completely ignore my lecture. Surely you'd like to show them to the entire class.
And they're like,
Sure, why not?
Sirina blushed, gripping her notebook tightly and holding it against her chest to hide it from the view. She would be embarrassed, even her family saw these drawings. Really, at university you would not hear that at all. At university the lecturers don't give a damn. Let's face it. Unless you would really do something horrible. As long as you don't interrupt, we are good to go. For she knew her mother was the type to hang even her worst artworks on the fridge as if they belonged in a museum. The one time where my lecturers would like blast out for some reason would be on the first semester, quite literally, when the guys that were in the last row decided to bet a bit of money, one guy to the other, if one of them will jump out of the window. It was ground floor, mind you, so no worries about that. But yeah, he did jump out. And she was pissed. Also, so it happened that the I guess bodyguard, you could say, security, more like security guard, that was walking around, was walking past our window, so he saw him. So yeah, the lecturer did find out who that was. Anyway.
No, sir, no.
Well, then I'd ask that you pay attention and take notes instead of drawing. And a bit of advice: if you plan on ignoring the lecture, to draw, then make attempts to look toward the front periodically.
Yeah, because you were like, draw. What's... okay. Note, yeah, like you are noting, right? Whatever.
And not check your watch every 5 minutes. Makes you much less suspicious. Speaking from experience, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Sirina did her best to hide herself by sinking as far as she could into her seat. But she could feel everyone's eyes on her. She could hear their snickers, their whispers. She wished she was 100 miles away, rather than being the center of attention. 3 girls in the back of the class, the same girls who always chattered among themselves, but never got in trouble for it, began to gossip as they always did.
Yikes!
And the teacher continued on with his lecture as if nothing at all was happening. They must be helping him out with something then, after classes. Anyway, Sirina was beginning to be convinced that these girls were the devils her mother always warned her about. The devils that somehow always seemed to get whatever they wanted while the angels got punished. I understand. There are some people like that, like, they don't do a thing, but they somehow get what they want. It's crazy. But she hoped the stories of karma, about how those devils always got punished in the end, would ring true, eventually. Would be nice, right? Like all those freaking politicians Would be nice.
What does she... Does she have a date or something?
It's gotta be a special guy for her to be so flustered.
Even if she just gets called out in class, she might actually be luckier than us.
Hey, I can totally get a date.
Yeah, right. The last guy you asked out ran away in terror. Oh, those are girls talking. Whoops.
Hey, that's not true. He was late.
Sure he
Was.
You two are hopeless.
Speak for yourself.
Maybe we can take some pointers from her.
If she'll even talk to us.
Yeah, true. She may talk to anyone. How did she even manage to score a date anyway? All of a sudden, and being the subject of all the ridicule attention, something inside Serena snapped. It had been a long time since she had been this anxious, this panicked. But she couldn't take being stared at like she was an alien, laughed at, talked about right behind her back. I guess some people are not able to withstand that, yeah.
It's not a date.
She rapped as she stood up from her desk, still hugging her notebook to her chest. Suddenly, the room got deathly quiet. The teacher stopped lecturing in mid-sentence, the class stopped scribbling down notes, and even the girls behind her had stopped gossiping. Everyone's eyes were on her again. I feel like right now she could use the tactics of the guy from my story. It would be a good solution for this situation. Anyway, in her rage she had completely forgotten herself. That she was in the middle of a class, surrounded by about 30 other students, just like her. Just 30? 1, 2, 3, 4. There are like 4 seats per desk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, at least 10 on the left side. And probably 10 in the middle, 10 on the right. So like 120 spaces for students, right? Are we sure there is only 30 people there? Maybe. All of which were now just simply staring at her in confusion and shock. Her heart pounded in her chest, her breath hitching in her throat.
Sorry.
Without being able to be the center of attention any longer, Serena quickly grabbed her things and bolted out of the classroom door. She didn't dare look back to see everyone's looks of disappointment. A tear ran down her cheek. When she thought about how disappointed her parents would be. I mean, maybe if they heard about it. How much punishment she would get from the teacher for this. Probably nothing. Because it's university. Would she get kicked out of class? I don't think so. Fail. Was that an exam? No. Sure done, not wanting to think about it anymore. She ran to the meeting place, a small convenience store around the corner from Labyrinthe. Everyone in this area knew well and visited frequently, knowing full well she was nearly an hour early. But she didn't want to be anywhere else, see anyone else. She wanted to be with the one person she knew, wouldn't make fun of her. The one person who wouldn't judge her. The person who, as she opened her eyes wide, was right in front of her. Right now.
Serena, I didn't expect you for at least another 30 minutes. Are you okay?
She never was good at hiding her tears. Or hiding anything, really. Her mother always said she wore her emotions on her sleeve, and one look at her face was enough to know everything she was feeling. Serena frantically reached up her sleeve and began to attempt to wipe them away. What was left of her, she was sure, was a red splotched wet mess. But it wasn't as if she could fake it now.
Sorry, I thought I'd have some time to calm down, but...
Yeah,
I showed up early. Sorry. I just had a strong urge to see you and...
The bunny girl's heart skipped a bit. Layla wanted to see her as much as she wanted to see Layla? What? So much so that she showed up early to wait in hopes of even getting to spend an extra few minutes of time with her? Her cheeks flushed, for she doubted Leia would notice over the red remains of her tears.
That's probably weird, right? Oh, or stalkers even. We barely know each other after all.
How is... What? No, it's not. I mean, what? I mean, I don't know exact spot they were supposed to meet each other. Maybe it was there. So, no. You got there early? Yo, it's not like it doesn't happen. It's not stalkerish.
God, I must sound completely stupid.
Yeah, because it's not stalkerish.
No, I think it's nice. I wanted to see you too.
Despite the fact that she was just crying barely 5 minutes ago, Serena found herself smiling softly at the other. Thinking that someone else wanted to see her was waiting for her, it was a feeling Serena couldn't describe. But she knew, at least it made her happy.
Good. But if you don't want to go out now, I totally understand. We can go somewhere else and talk. No!
Huh? Serena blurted out, a bit stronger than she intended. She was so used to being coddled to not being taken seriously. She wanted to make her intentions clear. She wanted to say,
Layla, you are mine from now
on. She didn't want there to be any misunderstandings.
I want to go with you. And I don't want any of my negative feelings getting in the way of whatever fun we have. So let's go. On one condition. Name it.
Layla narrowed her eyes and began to study the other's face as if she was searching for expressions to cue her in on a particular detail Serena was unaware of. Serena shook a bit self-consciously.
That you don't run away from your feelings. You don't have to tell me what happened or even what you're feeling now. But I will not let this adventure be an excuse to run from your problems. Okay? I promise I won't run. At least not anymore today.
The fox smiled, gesturing a hand toward the street across from her.
Well then, princess. Off we go to our first adventure. Right.
Serena giggled and they began to walk, side by side, down the afternoon suburban streets, wondering just what sorts of things they would see when they reached their destination.
Hurry up, or we'll miss the penguin show. Penguins? They have penguins in Everton?
Layla laughed, grabbing the other by the hand and rushing her inside.
Oh, holy crap, I forgot. They were supposed to open this freaking aquarium-like thing as well in zoo city next to mine. Holy crap. Should I go? I should go, shouldn't I? But I don't want to go alone. Damn it. Just moments ago, they had eagerly handed the attendant some cash, which Layla generously offered, and the attendant bowed his head in thanks as they practically ran inside. Serena really didn't have much time to look as Layla rushed her along, but she held on for dear life in the hopes that Layla wasn't joking, that there was going to be real life, actual penguins there. I did read we have sharks over there. I think 2 of them. One she had only seen in animal books or browsed on Google Images. She smiled brightly as she turned her head from side to side, watching in wonder as water and rainbow creatures float all around her, just one glass pane away. Thank God. They're just about to start now. Start what? And suddenly, they were stopped. By the time they got there, the indoor benches outside the penguin habitat were already filled with people. God damn it. Mostly parents and children who were laughing and playing a bit too loud and showing each other keychains and plushies their parents had bought them at the gift shop. Layla frowned, looking a bit disappointed at not being able to get a front row seat.
We can just watch back here. It's quieter, and I can still see just fine,
she assured Layla, who shrugged in response. The frown drifted from the fox's girl's face, and a look of sheer excitement replaced it as she watched a female aquarist step out in the land portion of the habitat on the other side of the glass. The aquarist spoke into the microphone wrapped around her ear, and the show began. And it was only then that Layla realized she still had Serena's hand within her own, when she attempted to lean backward against a concrete pillar to rest her back on and felt Serena's arm tug against the small force.
Sorry, I guess I grabbed it without your permission.
The fourth girl released the other's hand quickly, holding her hands up in the air as if to prove her innocence. Layla's cheeks were red, but she tried to drift her attention to the penguin show so as to not draw attention to them. Serena found that her own cheeks heated up a bit when she realized she had held the other's hand, even if it was just a few moments. She had never been even that close to a friend before, and it made her feel warm and wanted.
It's okay, I'll let you know if I do anything I don't like.
Promise? Layla gave the other a grin, but deep in her eyes was a look of sincerity that proved to the bunny girl that she was being deadly serious. Serena gave the other a smile, nodding her head.
Promise!
And so, for the next hour or so, they watched the lady feed equatorial penguins, raw fish, and give out random facts about them. Wow, that's called. Like this. Random facts about them that Layla thought were surprisingly informative. Serena watched in amazement as the penguins effortlessly glided through the water and waddled along the shore, to which she giggled like a child over a puppy. When the show was over, Layla had to pull Serena out of her penguin-struck trance. She dragged her by the arm for a few moments before they retraced their steps to the entrance and began to actually explore the aquarium as intended, one tank at a time.
I hope you get to see some sea turtles.
That's what you want to see? Not jellyfish or clownfish? Or, well, any kind of fish? Serena giggled as she walked beside the other, pecking her head over a tank of a few stingrays. She debated for a moment whether she was going to roll up her sleeves and pet one, but she inched backward just when it looked like she was going to commit.
Those are all great too, but I guess I always just felt connected to turtles. Hiding in their shells and all of that.
Okay, makes sense, I guess.
I like to be on my own too, to swim freely in my own thoughts.
Interesting. Interesting comparison, not gonna lie. Layla rolled up her sleeve, without a second thought, gliding her hand over the top of a stingray. Serena opened her eyes wide at the other, surprised she could commit to petting one so easily. Surely sometimes coming out of your shell, feeling the touch of something new, isn't so bad once in a while, for right? At that, Serena glided as close as she could to Layla. She held out her arm and stuck her shaky fingers under the water. She reached her hand down, closer and closer to the stingray, who seemed to be attached to Layla's touch. She jumped a bit as soon as her fingertips danced over the stingray's back, beginning to retreat her hand out of the water. But Layla gently grabbed her wrist and moved her hand back into place under the water's surface. The stingray danced along the edges of her fingers, down her palm, and swam off towards a small group of children on the other side of the tank.
See? Wasn't so bad, right?
Serena pulled her hand out of the tank, which was now dripping. She stared at her hand for a moment as if the touch of the stingray was still stitched to her skin. Then she smiled, first at herself and then up at Layla, who was patiently awaiting her response.
It was a little slimy. But not bad at all.
There is tons more to see. If you're brave enough, of course.
I think I can, yeah. If you're with me. Blush.
What she said was so sincere and innocent, Layla couldn't help but blush at it. She chuckled a bit to herself as she reached the hand-washing station, nodding Serena over and gesturing for her to clean her hands thoroughly. When Serena finished drying her hands, Layla had already plotted their next destination and began to lead the other there.
The grand finale.
Already.
Amazing! That glass must be super strong to be able to hold all this water, all these reefs and this.
For a brief moment, Serena's face went blank. Like she was looking at something she couldn't believe. But then her mouth twitched in a bright smile and she jumped up and down like a child, pointing just over her head. Layla followed her fingertips, seeing that above them, in the tunnel of see-through glass, where they were currently walking through, a sea turtle neatly the size of their own selves drifted by. A few sharks and other marine life also fluttered above the canopy of sea above their heads, but Serena's attention never drifted from the turtle's dark wood shell, as it drifted gracefully about the aquarium sea.
You really do like turtles, don't ya?
He's so pretty! Like a prince of the ocean.
To be honest, turtles kind of creep me out.
I don't know why, but they do. What if it's a she?
Then princess of the sea.
What if it's older?
Then a queen.
The fox girl began to laugh, which Serena echoed. Laughing they both knew now really was contagious. At least when the two of them were involved.
Why do all the sea turtles have to be royal? What is this, a medieval fantasy novel?
Ooh, an idea! Serena's face went blank again, but this time it wasn't surprise or amazement. It was the face that she made when she suddenly got an idea. She quickly reached into her bag she had wrapped around her shoulder and began to dig through it. To which Layla tilted her head in confusion.
What are you doing?
But Serena knew if she talked now, she'd forget all about her idea. So she focused first on fetching her writing notebook and pen out of her bag and pulling it out. She jotted down all the words she was thinking, which surprisingly she found to be enough to fill a full page. When she felt she got her idea down as adequately as possible, as she possibly could, she looked up at Layla and gave her the biggest grin Layla had ever seen.
You just gave me my inspiration for my book.
Huh? Really? Sea turtles with titles. That's what you were waiting to write about?
Maybe. You don't know what it's about, really. You won't know until you read it.
I see. Trying to convince me to be your first buyer. Very clever tactic.
Who said you will be a buyer? Serena just grinned, to which Layla responded with a grin of her own. Serena stuffed her notebook and pen back into her bag, and she stepped into place beside the other. The pair finished the rest of the tour with grins on their faces, their hearts so much lighter than they had been in a long time. Possibly their whole lives. Oh, my legs hurt like crazy.
So, I guess this is where we part ways for now.
Serena stared at Layla for a moment, then cast her eyes down to the sidewalk just outside the convenience store where they met a few hours previously. They were standing about a step apart, just far enough to where she could reach out and touch the other. But Serena found that she was shaking far too much for that. She locked her hands behind her back, shifting her weight from one leg to the other nervously. Are you okay?
Yeah, of course, yeah, totally. I just,
With a tilt of her chin, Layla tried to find and meet Serena's gaze again. But the other was shifting so much she couldn't quite find it. She wondered if all her future conversation with Serena were going to be like this. Ow. No. Whoops. Not that she minded the other being shy. So Layla sighed and gave the other the sweetest smile and voice she could master.
Whatever it is, I won't be mad, okay? And I could never hate you. Or think any less of you. So, tell me.
Something about the other, her confidence, her bravery, her faith in someone she often hated herself, made Serena want to open herself up. More and more with each moment she spent with Layla. But Serena's personality of always holding herself back, in fear that someone would hate her, still made her have second thoughts. Perhaps the more time she spent with the Fox girl, the easier it would become to open up. Or perhaps it would be just as difficult, but she would be able to manage if it was her?
I bought you something at the shop.
The bunny girl pulled her linked hands out from behind her back and held out a small paper bag designed with aqua fish and bubbles on it that fit perfectly into the center of her palm. Layla's eyes went wide as she cautiously held out a hand to take it.
For me? Well, for both of us, actually. I just, really wanted to thank you for the book idea and for this trip. I had a lot of fun and...
Serena buried her head again, unable to face the other with a flood of blushes forming all over her face. She felt Layla's fingers tickle her palm as the other cautiously picked it up. She heard the crunch of the paper as Layla peeled back the tape and the clank of metal as two pieces fell into her palm. Like a foam strap or something? After a few moments of silence, Serena found she couldn't take it. She looked up over the presents now resting in Layla's palm. 2 metal turtle hair clips.
Oh, okay.
I didn't expect that, I guess. 1 bronze and 1 silver.
The hair clips, see? Bronze for you, and silver for me.
And we could wear them together. I mean, she does wear clips and so on, right? Speaking of which, I should get, clips like Layla has for when my hair gets longer on the sides. It really annoys me when my hair gets into the ears. Anyway, I just figured you might get mad at me if I bought something for you and not for myself, because I don't have a lot of money, so I bought a matching gift, and that's what our bunny girl thinks, right?
Serena.
When the other looked up at Layla's face again, she found that tears had begun to fall from them. Huh? For a moment, Serena's body went numb, terrified she had done something wrong. She wanted to reach out to explain to the other what she had meant, but before she could say anything, Layla cut off all the pleas by wrapping her free arm around Serena's shoulders and burying her face in the crook of the bunny girl's neck. Serena could feel Layla's worn tears. Worn? maybe warm, whatever, on her skin, her warm breath, her soft lips as she began to speak against her pale skin. Thank you, Serena.
Hey, you're welcome.
Never having had a friend before, Serena didn't quite know what to do. She stood there awkwardly for a few moments, but then she gently raised a hand and placed it softly on Layla's back. If this was what the other wanted, the other needed, then Serena was happy to oblige. After all, the bunny had meant to give the fox the gift for the precise reason of thanking her for this trip. A hug was just an extra bonus? A tip? For Serena could never quite see a physical exchange like this as just a business transaction. In fact, she didn't quite know what to call this at all.
Sorry, I know this isn't really your thing.
Layla pulled back after a few moments, wiping away a trace of tears with her sleeve. She used one hand to hold the bronze thread clip and held out the silver one to Serena. She was smiling brightly. I feel like the colors should be the other way around, because silver in this bluish, I mean, I don't know what's the name, aqua color, whatever, right? In this bluish, light bluish, her might get lost. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the bronze one would be more visible, and same with Layla, right? Because as you can see, her clips are white, so they're visible, so silver would be also visible and so on. Anyway. At least she hoped they were.
Shall we try them on then?
Serena nodded with eagerness. Glad that the other was no longer crying and seemed her bright and proud self.
Yeah!
Serena took the small clip out of the other's hands, and the two girls pulled up their bunks slightly, just enough for her to clasp the pin to where it would rest in place comfortably. Then they turned back towards each other and giggled. Where is it? I don't see it. See, I told you.
Kinda weird, isn't it?
No!
Wearing an animal when you are a part animal yourself.
No!
You're most definitely not turtle material. It's not weird. It's good. It is. I say so.
At this, Layla reached out a hand and swept a stray hair away from Serena's face.
Then it's even prettier on you.
Serena felt her cheeks go instantly hot as if someone had set fire to them. This wasn't the kind of heat from embarrassment at being the center of attention in class. This wasn't the kind of heat from fumbling about trying to find the words to say to a stranger. This was a different kind of heat. A warmth she had never felt before. A warmth that made her heart skip a bit.
Well, it's about time for you to get home, isn't it? You got that novel of yours to work on after all. Not to mention classes tomorrow, right? Yeah, you're right.
When Layla pulled her hand back, Serena felt the warmth slowly leave her body. She felt a shiver run down her spine. She felt like someone had given her a blanket only to pull it off her shoulders moments later. She was relieved that the other didn't make her come up with an answer she didn't have, but Serena also felt a little empty. Why was that?
Oh, and about whatever was bothering you earlier. No running, right?
Serena nodded, putting on a brave face.
No running, not ever. Good. Well, then, message me, alright? We'll make our next plans then.
Serena was about to ask how when the foxgirl pulled out a small strip of paper, folded it in half and placed it into Serena's palm at her side. The bunny girl flinched for a moment, but she closed her hand to a fist and held the paper there protectively. Holy... Wait, so that second meeting of theirs was kinda... We might meet or not in the library, right? That's crazy. If Layla wanted her to have it, then she would hold on to it for dear life.
Night then, Serena.
Night! Serena lifted her clenched palm and, under the street light, looked over the digits written neatly in the center of the slip of paper. Serena smiled, wondering how long Layla was waiting for the right moment just to hand her this. To give her this opportunity to open communication with her. Serena placed the slip of paper protectively into a pouch inside of her bag and began to walk back to her dorm, the street lights guiding her path. I would put the number in... Whoa, sorry. Immediately into the phone. As soon as Serena got home, she immediately pulled the slip of paper out of her bag and unlocked her phone. You know what I miss? Because right now it's kinda not possible. I have... but it's possible with this one. With the old freaking Nokia. I mean, yeah, it's old. But you could do this, right? Let's put it. And you could put stuff into the phone. Damn it. Too bad that we can't do that anymore. So I could do this in the previous LG I had as well. Wait, how did you open? How did... how was it? Pretty sure I could open it somehow, but I don't freaking remember how. Or maybe I could. No, I could open it because the SIM card was going inside. And I did. Yeah, it can. So I did keep some, for example, sometimes money in it, right? Because why not? Sometimes you would need it, right? Let's keep it inside. Whatever. And then you pull out, like, a phone, open it up. They are, what the fuck are you doing, man? You open up the phone and give them the money. It's nuts. Now you can do that. It's annoying as heck. Bring back the good freaking builds for the phones. As soon as Serena got home, she immediately pulled the slip of the paper out of the bag and locked their phone. Or do that, right? Instead of, you know, you don't have to type stuff out. You just go, oh, thanks. Okay, I will type it later. Let me just freaking take my phone apart a little bit without turning it off or anything. Put the paper inside and let's go. Actually, I was doing this as well with notes. Sometimes. Anyway. To not blabber about how the development of phones is kind of also under development. Yeah. We develop backwards, right? With excited taps, she entered Lila's number into her records as a new contact. One of 4 that she currently owns, the other 3 being her mother, her father, and the school's student resources office. I mean, I have more, but I use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I guess. Or something like that. That was all she had ever needed to get by. Oh, sorry. A yawn escaped, sorry. But just looking at this 4th contact made her smile more than any of the others she has ever entered. Wait, you mean you weren't excited about entering the number for Student Resources Office? Sounds exciting.
Felix, I think I finally made a friend. A real friend. At least I hope I did.
Of course, it had only been a few days since she had met the other, and there was no way Serena could possibly know if this friendship was going to last. Layla might get fed up with her one day, or the other might move away, and they might never see each other again. That's why you fight for that person like crazy. I mean, maybe not like this, but, you know, fight for that person. Okay? If you have someone like that, fight. Okay? Okay? In a reasonable way, but fight, okay? Don't give up.
Listen to Lynx. Don't give up. I will not give up either, okay?
Okay. Life has a way of surprising you, constantly keeping you on your toes, Serena's mother always said. But she always added afterwards, not all of those surprises are bad. Meeting Layla, Serena thought was a good surprise. Yeah? Holy crap! Okay, after this video, I'm going to sleep. It was completely unexpected and a little scary, but Serena liked spending time with the other. Yeah? She liked sharing her interests, a lot of which they both had in common. She liked not being judged for being who she was. And she liked that the other encouraged her, not just in her dream of being a writer, but also to be brave and not to run away or hide from her problems. Layla supported her, but also pushed her to be her best self, and that was a rare trait in a person.
I guess I should call Mom and tell her that good news, huh?
Maybe tomorrow? Looking at Layla's contact number made her all giddy. For the first time she could call or text someone just for the sake of it. To just say hi, or talk about silly things. She didn't have to call and ask questions. She didn't have to call when she only had news, or to prove that she was absolutely, totally fine. She could call or message for any reason, and it was a warm relief to her.
Hello? Serena?
Or more like,
Hello?
no, she's not all that mother, come on.
Hello? Serena? Can you hear me? Hello? Oh, sorry, Mom. I guess I spaced out for a minute.
Serena hadn't even realized she had pressed her mom's number until the line had already connected and her mother's voice echoed over the phone. Serena crowded the phone against her ear, thankful to hear the comforting sound of her mother's laughter on the other side.
At least you haven't changed that much, my dear. Always my little astronaut. I guess you're right.
Serena was always a little klutzy. Her attention span usually stuck in some thought about a book or story growing up. So her mother began to call her an astronaut. Is it a Danmachi reference? Kind of. Had always in the stars, she said, always dreaming. The nickname stuck around even now.
So, what did you want to tell me, sweetheart? Well, I think I've made a friend.
Her mother let out a surprised, excited gasp. And Serena was reminded yet again of where she got her nature of being giddy about things she found cute or interesting from. Her intuitive side, she knew, she got from her father, who was not a man of many words, but as kind and thoughtful a man as one would ever meet.
That's great, honey. You haven't had a good friend in ages. You've been due.
Not since her 8th grade year in middle school, Serena recalled. A girl in her science class, who she bonded over talking about animals with. Unfortunately, the girl transferred out halfway through the year, to Serena's devastation. She would talk to people sometimes after that, but they were never more than acquaintances. She hadn't had anyone she could truly call her friend since then. Until now.
Her name's Layla. She's well, I met her in the library. She's a book nerd like me. And we read books and went to the aquarium and talk about all sorts of things. And I just got her number.
The way Serena squealed happily into the phone made her mom echo the sound right back, and made Serena even giddier to see she wasn't the only one excited about this.
That's great, honey. Are you going to meet with her again soon? Children, when?
Wait, they are both girls, I can.
I haven't made plans yet, but I'm gonna message her after this. I just wanted to tell you first. First news I've had since I've come here. Sweetie, you don't have to rush things. You've only been there a month. I'd say you're progressing well.
Thanks, Mom. I'm really gonna try my best.
I know you will, sweetie. You always do.
Serena smiled into the phone, so happy her mother was always there if she needed her. That her mother would always support her. It was something she hoped everyone could have.
Well, I'm gonna get off here. I'll let you go, Mom.
Okay, dear. Good luck with your new friend and classes. You're doing great.
Mom, about that. About classes going great. Yeah, you won't believe what happened.
Anyway.
Thanks, Mom.
Oh, and sweetie?
Yeah?
Thanks for telling me about your friend.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye, sweetheart.
Bye.
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 As soon as the call ended, Serena's fingers drifted over to Layla's number. Her talk with her mother had given her motivation to go through with it, but was she supposed to message or call? Would Layla even respond right now, or was she type to wait and reply later? I mean, you could just send her the info so she can type your number into her phone, right? I would say that would make sense. Just write like, hey, it's Serena here. I typed in your number. Here you have a message for me, so you can type my number in. Boom. That's how it's done. I'm a genius. She'd never had someone who texted actively before, except a few online friends she had made that weren't really as active anymore.
Stop thinking about it, Serena. Just do it. Just do it.
She tapped on the message box and she took a deep breath before beginning to type what she was feeling. What was she feeling? She wrote a couple times, edited, erased some words, some lines before finally setting on. What a yawn. Because that's how long it took her to finally decide what to send.
Hey, it's Serena. Thank you again for the trip to the aquarium. I had a lot of fun. I'd love to go with you somewhere else soon. Have a great night.
She hit send as quickly as she could, so she wouldn't chicken out.
I hope she responds.
Serena kept her phone on vibrate and began to do her nightly routine as she waited. Vibrate. That's the most dangerous thing you can do. Unless she has other alarm. Showering, changing to pajamas, brushing teeth, and finally sitting on her bed and turning on her alarm so that she wouldn't be late for her morning class tomorrow. As soon as she clicked the alarm button on her phone, her phone buzzed in her hands. The vibration was so sudden she nearly dropped her phone to the floor, but she managed to catch it and hold it firmly in her shaking hands. She let out a sigh of relief before checking her phone. It was a reply from Layla, which made Serena's heart jolt as she read it.
This is Layla. So good job on reading my terrible handwriting. Lol. No problem, I had a lot of fun too. Another trip is definitely in order, but maybe we should space them out a bit. The way you have time to write and study everything. Maybe like next week. Let's take it at a steady pace.
Next week.
Serena did feel that was best, for she longed to go on another adventure as soon as possible. She needed time to relax, study, and time to begin working on her novel idea. She just wrote down the concept idea of. I mean, I think it only makes sense, like, let's go at a steady pace, let's not rush it, right? I think, like, if you rush it, you might kind of misinterpret your emotions as well. If she waited till next week, then she could tell Layla about what progress she was making.
Yeah?
Yeah, next week is fine. I can meet you after class again. So, do you still want to meet in the library on my off days?
Of course. I spent most of my time in the forgotten section of the library after all, and you're welcome down there as often as you like. For you should definitely make sure it won't distract you too much. It won't be a distraction. I'll make sure to stay on the task and rest at home when I need it. It will help to... I hit myself. Being around the books and reading, with my novel I mean. As long as you're okay with it, that's good enough for me. So, what is the plan for our next adventure? I have the perfect idea. Let's beat the bark around 8 p.m.
Serena tilted her head curiously.
Why 8 p.m.? Sorry, why 8 p.m.? Doesn't it get dark yet?
It depends. Is it summer? Then no, probably.
That, dear Serena, is the mystery. Some lights, you see, can only be found in the dark.
Ah, nice. I know what you're talking about.
What is she planning?
In the rabbit's mind, Layla was grinning mischievously. And Serena was caught in her spell. She had to know what the false girl was up to.
I don't get it, but I'll be there, and no funny business. I wouldn't dream of it, princess.
Serena rolled her eyes, but she was smiling all the while. Layla somehow always managed to make her smile, whether she was trying to or not. With a content nod, Serena set her phone at her bedside table, turned off her lamp, and curled up under the blankets. She pulled her fox plush against her chest, her heart beating unsteadily as she looked into his eyes. Fox eyes, which soon became her eyes. Layla's eyes. In Serena's mind. The idea of laying Layla's head against her chest like this, oh, that must be such a great feeling. There was no way she could imagine it. I mean, she could try. It was odd, she thought. Ironic, even. How her only companion through high school up until now was a fox plush. And her first friend after all these years is also a fox. Fate worked in mysterious ways, she thought.
Let's hope tomorrow is a little less of a roller coaster, Felix.
As she closed her eyes, her thoughts drifted into sleep. Her body felt the exhaustion of the day's ups and the downs. The class incident. The aquarium adventure. From one low to one high. She just hoped that now that she was on top of the high, she wouldn't crash to an all-the-time low again. Okay, understandable. And that's how the day ends, because she fell asleep and dreamt of the events that were to happen. Or of the past ones that happened, who knows. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed for now. We'll of course continue tomorrow. I'm hitting the bed as well, even though it's 2 AM on a Saturday. And of course I don't work on Sundays, but I actually have plans for Sunday. And I have to get up, because my plan is at 10 AM. So I would like to at least get like around 6 hours of sleep. So yeah. Of course, tomorrow I will continue recording a little bit, and so on. But at night, yeah. Yeah. And of course, episodes will be uploaded day after day. So yeah, let's end here. We'll continue tomorrow when it comes to the uploads, obviously. Hope to see you there as well, because this is a very enjoyable game, and unless you want to download it yourself, right? As per usual, link is in the description. Lost Girl will continue tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.